Thank you very much for that. And now I just a few announcements, some housekeeping issues. Most of the workings the book at the back there, more you have the registered, very, very prominent college Canada. We also have some others to my right. This particular student. If you need anything, my colleagues are there, I can have. My two colleagues are there, so you can just ask them. And of course, they'll also be on standby in case you need any help. I know that we disrupted the very good one that you're having at the drinks forum. Have no fear. We have enough drinks. So after this we come this drinks and not in a hurry to teach you over. I can say with confidence my ambassador here. That's here. We also some bindings to cover. So please manage to worry. There will still be plenty until we are done with the program. It's very important that all of us need to use technology. One person who loves technology, and I know technology about technology, right? And we have been invited in Denmark without visas. Who tried to go look for a visa to come to the embassy today? We are in Denmark, right? People outside there must know that we are in Denmark. And it is very, very simple. Please, I gave people this assignment on Monday. They've let me down. Today, please don't. I know all of us have smartphones. Can we please all take our smartphones? Everybody with their smartphones. Some people are looking at me and they know you have smartphones. You want to name names? Get your camera. Get your camera. My name names. Make sure the camera is a selfie. Take a selfie of yourself. 1, 2, 3, and go. You have the selfies? Now, this is what we are going to do. Everybody will know we are in Denmark, right? Go on Twitter. Now, please like this pages. Actually, it's not Twitter, it's X, right? Sorry about that. X. So we'll follow these two pages today. Denmark in Kenya. Who has ever been in Denmark and in Kenya? Today is our first time, so we do it, right? Like the page on X, Denmark in Kenya. Like the page on X and hashtag defenders. Especially the defenders, I have to spell it out. The D is a capital, and then the KE at the end is also a capital. So defenders KE, that's the X page of Defenders Coalition. And then put those selfies there. Give us messages. We want to read them out. The hashtag for the day today is HRD Award 2023. My dear, we are all there. And then take my seat. I am hoping to see everybody's selfie in those two pages. Thank you very much. Gloria, we have the right
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. The good thing with human rights is that it unites everybody. So I'm sure all those partners supported with great zeal, zest, and with full willingness. So thank you very much, Gloria. At this particular point, I want to call on stage a man of great character, a real human rights defender, and someone that I know inspires so many people, not just in the great Republic of Kenya, but across the region and indeed globally. Join me and let's give a hearty welcome to DK Kamau from the Defenders Coalition.
This is a remix. As I we chicken,
You know where I come from, what we do? You have to say, I don't know if I'm allowed to do that. Anyway, just a kidding. Wakenya mpo? Watetezi mpo? Mbona hakuna wimbo hivi? Ni shujaa watetezi ye. Ni shujaa watetezi wetu. Ni shujaa watetezi ye. Ndio maana. Ndio maana. Ndio maana. Thank you very much. Hiyo ni ya kutoa attention kwa mwili. My name is Kamau Ngugi. As I have been introduced, I work for an organization called the Defenders Coalition, or the National Coalition of Human Rights Defenders. I serve there as an executive director, and the people that I serve, majority of them are in this room. Let me say that I'm excited to once again welcome you to this unique and special occasion to honor the courageous work of the great people who take the risk to advance the global values contained in the now 75-year-olds, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. I say they take a risk. It should not be a risk. It should be something we should all be happy and required to do. Let me say that today marks 8 years in a row since the Defenders Coalition, in partnership with the Working Group on Human Rights Defenders that comprises of civil society organizations, foreign missions, the UN, all who are concerned with the promotion and protection of human rights, they started organizing this event to honor the frontline champions. We decided to honor the frontline champions because for the longest time, the stories that we heard were mostly about criminalization, about negative narratives, people that human rights defenders disrupt the status quo, human rights defenders advance foreign agendas, human rights defenders are against development. But I say human rights defenders are people who support the great global values of respect and promotion of human rights, and they deserve to be respected. So I wish to acknowledge the many embassies that have played the role of host for this event since 2016. Please, I would like to start by recognizing that this conversation we started off at the Embassy of the Netherlands, who are the first host in 2016, and then also in 2017. These awards were also hosted by the Embassy of Belgium in 2018. They were also hosted by Embassy of France in 2019, Embassy of Norway in 2020, and 2021. Someone will ask me, how did you hold this event and there was COVID? Yes, we did. What we did is that a few people were able to convene, but then others were able to join online. So in fact, we did hold those events. And then, of course, we were also hosted in 2020 by the Embassy of Sweden in 2021 and 2022. So Sweden is the immediate host of these seminar awards. So today we are happy that the Embassy of Denmark has the planning committee that has played a critical role, meeting so many times to make sure that everything goes on smoothly. But at the core of all this has been conversation about defending the people that deserve to be recognized because of the advancing human rights in Kenya. So this year, in our midst, we have more than 350 guests that have been invited at this space. These include 105 human rights defenders that are drawn from all the 47 counties of Kenya, and they have been attending a week-long training. We call it the Human Rights Defenders Academy, that is organized by the Defenders Coalition. If you know that you are part of this train, please, can you scream, but not too loudly, but just scream. Was there anyone from a place called the Ebobut Forest? Was there anyone from a place called the Mau Forest? Was there someone from a place called Dadora Justice Center? Was there someone from a place called Wajir, Madera, Marsabit counties? So all I'm saying is that if I was to read each and every name, you'll meet people who are doing great work. But then their adversaries, unfortunately, remain mostly some of us who are in positions of power, some of them state agents, but also people who are not within the state. So I think what we can only do is to work very closely with them and appreciate the great work that they do. So at this point, because I was never trained in matters diplomacy, please, I'll jump the point where I need to observe what we call protocols observed. So if I say protocols observed, please know that I'm recognizing anyone who is in this room, including at the front seats. But I must also, at this point, appreciate that in this room, apart from the people that are mentioned, we also have human rights defenders that have won the various awards since 2016. So we had a meeting yesterday just to walk through the journey to see what has been the impact of the awards to these people. And I can tell you for sure, this is one of the most impactful projects that people who have got the chance to be awarded, they have become the real ambassadors at the community level advancing human rights. As I conclude, allow me to say that defending human rights in Kenya is unfortunately a very risky undertaking. Many human rights defenders that do incredible work have been killed, including this year and the other years before. I know I've met many human rights defenders who are nursing injuries, and others have spent time in jail, and others are remaining in the corridors of justice because of trumped up charges, just because of the great work that they do. Such reprisals have deterred Kenyans from carrying out their civic responsibilities bestowed upon them by the Constitution and, of course, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So as we honor these champions today who have won the various awards, please, let's ensure that defending human rights becomes a natural thing for all of us to do. Human rights defenders should not be intimidated or exposed to harm for doing what is right. Let's use today's occasion to network and to strengthen our global solidarities. And when I say strengthen global solidarities, I want to recognize among us people from South Africa, I know who have come to join us, the Women Human Rights Defenders Initiative, because they need to be part and to see how Kenya is doing it. I also know that we have colleagues from the South Sudan, and I've just seen colleagues from civil rights defenders who support our work all the way from Sweden, feeling encouraged by the work that I do. So I thank all of you and congratulations to the winners. Thank you. See, I was taking that break so that you can clap for me. Because having done that, it's my singular honor to invite and welcome the ambassador of Denmark to give his opening remarks. Karibu.
Great sound effect. Wow. Kamau, thank you so much for handing over to me. MC Gloria and Joseph, thank you for starting us up. Justice William Buku, Judge of the Supreme Court, representing Her Ladyship, Chief Justice Martha Koome, ambassadors, colleagues, partners, members of the awards jury,
the Defenders Coalition, our co-chair of the Human Rights Defenders Working Group, outstanding human rights defenders, ladies and gentlemen. It's my distinct and great honor to welcome and host you today. As Kamau is saying, this is the 8th time. It's the 8th Human Rights Defenders Awards. The day where we are recognizing the outstanding efforts of champions defending and promoting human rights. This very important event here in Kenya coincides with the marking of the 75th anniversary of the Universal Declaration on Human Rights. 75 years. Somehow, perhaps it's a time for reflection. You can learn more about the declaration up there. But we could ask ourselves whether we have lived up to the aspirations of those who worked hard on that declaration 75 years ago. Those that did it with the hope that we could agree and unite around a fundamental set of rights. Now, whatever your own reply to that question is, let us today again dedicate ourselves to observing human rights, because it's needed. We all know that there are human rights violations going on all over the world. Violent conflict, repression, sexual and gender-based violence, violation of minorities' rights, and I'm afraid many, many more. And the fact is that you, defenders of human rights, often endure the most of these repressions. You are at the front line trying to push back. And we are here today to honor you, to honor your resilience, your passion, your selflessness in defending human rights, despite all the dangers that you do indeed face. As diplomatic missions, as UN organization, development partners, we will remain committed to playing our part in supporting and defend human rights. And there's an interesting link that you'll just allow me to touch upon. Because many of us often talk about sustainable development and the sustainable development goals. But the fact is there can be no sustainable development without observing human rights. 90% of the goals and targets of the SDGs correspond to human rights obligations. So the good news is that as we make progress on the SDGs, we also make progress on human rights and vice versa. And keep in mind, SDGs deserve our full attention. Deadline is only 7 years away. There's a lot to do. Now, let me try to conclude so we can move on and get to all the interesting stuff. But I urge you to continue to be believers, supporters, and defenders of human rights. We'll experience here today will give you inspiration and urge you to continue all the hard work. Now, I've been standing here for a couple of minutes, and I can tell you it is a great view. I come here every morning. No, but it's true. Every morning I walk here and I look down the lawn and our great meeting room up there. This morning the tent was here, and I just dare to imagine, wow, will this be full in the afternoon? It's full, and you're making this place more beautiful than ever. So thank you for being here. Let's enjoy the afternoon. Let's celebrate the hard work of the human rights defenders. Asante sana.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. Another round of applause for His Excellency. Thank you very much, and I can confirm that he's a true believer of human rights. So thank you for hosting us today, Ambassador. At this point, I will invite somebody who will be very busy today, Kamau again, to perform another very, very important function. Kamau again. Makofi kwa Kamau.
Now, this is the part I love most because you don't read a speech, you just say what you know. And it's that part where we go straight to the purpose for which we are here. Now, we said that 80 years in a row, we have been sitting at various embassies to honor the outstanding work of defending human rights. What people don't know is the details that go into this process. And because there are other human rights defenders here who will be cheering others, I'll explain so that next time you'll be the person we shall be cheering. So how does this go about? So when we sat in 2016, and this is reviewed every year, we said that we have to recognize the individuals that demonstrate courage, they demonstrate innovation, and they are actually impacting their communities. And by doing the work that they do, they experience a lot of hardship. We said those are the people that we shall be giving awards to. We also said that we shall also be looking at people that have inspired generations, that have made me to become a human rights defender, that have made others to become human rights defenders because they inspire them with their integrity and with their commitment and bravery. We also said that we'd also be looking not just within Kenya, but also look globally, individuals that inspire us. So today we shall be honoring 4 categories of human rights defenders. The first one is the upcoming human rights defender. The second category is the human rights defender of the year. The third category is the Lifetime Achievement Award. And then recently we introduced a new category called the Global Solidarity Award. But then that is work that is done by different committees that I'm going to describe. And then some of you will say, what about us? What's our role? So we have another category that we would like you to actively be involved in. That category is called the Popular HRD Award. Now, each one of you, as you walked in, you are given a book. I call it a book, but it's a very, very colorful booklet. It has the history of the award, it has the purpose, it has also faces of people who won in the last year, and then it just talks about the awards. It also gives you people who have nominated for the various awards. So what will happen is that we shall, once we have issued the awards, we know who are the winners, then the people who are nominated but not given an award, but you believe should have been if you got a chance, that is the person I'd like to vote for. So that one will be a public vote. But please, we are very clear. We have servers and we shall observe them. Please don't think you're going to manipulate the servers. We shall be right here. So you'll have your moment at that point. So what are the 3 categories? So what is the process? The process is that we call, there's a call for proposal, you can imagine my job, the job that I do. I respond to proposals, but they are called for nomination for human rights defender that we need to appreciate at the community because of the work that they do. We don't ask people to nominate themselves. It's members of the community who feel touched by the great work that is being done at the community that they say, I'm going to nominate this person because of these reasons. So those categories, you select, then once you set them, they are received by a secretariat, which is based as the National Coalition of Human Rights Defenders or Defenders Coalition. So we receive the different nominations. And then a team sifts through those nominations, summarizes the key elements, and then submits it to a committee that is called the Shortlisting Committee. Now, this committee is a committee of civil society organizations and members of the diplomatic missions and the UN, they sit together and review all those shortlisted, those candidates, and they shortlist in each category about 5, 3, all 4, all 5 people that they believe have met the criteria. And once we have those different individuals that have been shortlisted, they are given to another group. And that group is called the judging panel or the HRD awards jury. So at this point, because that's one of the key, and the reason why I'm saying this is that all these stages are for purposes of ensuring that we only get the best for that particular year. So at this point, please allow me to invite the chairperson of the jury, of the judging panel, who will come and introduce her colleagues, and then we shall also learn more about the work that they do. So Rachel Moikari, a human rights defender from the community and a great gender and feminist activist. And when I grow up, I'll be saying, Pussy is human rights power. Karibu sana.
Viva! Viva, comrades, viva! I can't avoid also saying pussy. And maybe to explain to people why we say pussy power, it's because a lot of violence that is targeted towards women is targeted towards our body. So as you all heard, my name is Rachel Moikali. I'm the chair of the judging panel, but also in my other capacity, I'm the youth sounding board member of the Royal Danish Embassy here in Kenya, and also a global youth advisory board member for the Danish Minister of Development Cooperation. So tuko nyumbani, msikuwe na uoga, si ndio? Si ndio? I'd like also to acknowledge the presence of also the youth sounding board members for the Royal Danish Embassy in the room. Can you wave? So our role is to advise also the embassy on how they need to engage with the youth. But now bringing my other hat of the chair of the Human Rights Defender, I'd like to read a speech. I know it's different. Many people are used to me being a freestyle. Now you're doing it differently. It's another year. And so that I can also be able to call my other judging panel members so that you know them. The reason why I'm reading this speech is because where we are as a country and the things we have seen, and the role also we have seen judiciary playing in protecting and defending human rights, because human rights defenders, we have to work also based on the rule of the law. So today, diverse and intersectional approach. Our struggle in the space and in Kenya are very intersectional from the constitution and lived realities. Over time, we have seen an increased normalization of violence from the domestic settings through the national leadership. The rising of opposition from government, climate justice struggle, and religious fundamentalists, both on the Muslim side and on the Christian side, not saying that we don't have rights to our own religious setting, but we have been seeing what is happening in the country, catalyzing human rights violation, exposing citizens to violence. There's the rise of anti-gender, anti-choice movements supported by duty bearers that are supposed to protect, defend, and protect human rights, and promote also human rights, and not exposing a lot of human rights defenders. But as a result of this, we have seen HRDs being on the front line to defend human rights, but being exposed to violence. Now more than ever, this pervasive and indigenous wave of right-leaning authoritarianism is taking up, is compelling ordinary citizens they love and care about. This transformation is characterized by appropriation, dilution, and reinterpretation of the key human rights concepts and practices by states and non-state actors for various political gains and purposes. Co-option, human rights defenders have experienced backlash for their work, and it's becoming increasingly difficult to mobilize and organize at all levels. We need to say no, and when I say no, it's in capital letter, to the continuous normalization of violence that significantly undermines our democracy and the rule of the law. There's a need of resourcing, investing, and protecting human rights defenders who are defending the rights of citizens in Kenya. HRD awards is significant and important in ensuring that It promotes human rights and protects civic space in Kenya. I know you have the booklets, but I chose to read it so that maybe it can resonate with all of us why it's important to invest on the work of human rights defender, why it's important when judiciary makes ruling that protects all of us, we say in solidarity we stand with the judiciary, even if you're saying from far. And it's important for all of us to continue pushing what we are pushing. We have seen globally rights being shrinked. This year in Kenya, we had the killing of Chiloba, and may rest in peace. We had the killing of also and Mary Kenwe from all the way from Swaziland. Thank you for coming. That was our comrade Thulani Maseko, late Thulani Maseko, who was killed because of standing by the rule of law and democracy. I'd like to call my fellow judging panel members who have been working tirelessly to ensure that we come up with a decision. But the decision does not mean the nominees are not winners. You're all winners, and we celebrate you. So I'd like to call Dr. Willie Mutunga in front. So wave for Willie Mutunga, please come. I'd like to call Njeri Kabeberi, Grace Lolim. I'd like to call Andrew Maina, Commander Musheke, Ikal, Zengal, Ekal and Gado around. They are not also within their presence. These are super amazing human rights defenders that have been working so tirelessly to ensure the winners. So next time when we are getting the Mashujaa of Kenya, I hope that our president will award these also defenders. Cindy, see they deserve. So I just wanted for you to acknowledge the role they are playing. In most of the time, when people play behind the scene, we don't recognize the role they play, but they play a very instrumental role to ensure that this country, we're able to ensure that this award is continuous. And to the partners, thank you so much. You'll see them again, but I'll just request we clap for them. Thank you so much, comrades. So back to Kamau.
We are doing very, very well. Rachel, thank you very much. The jury, we are very grateful for the good work that you do. Just a very small and quick announcement. I would like to request all the nominees, if you are in the house, please, your seat is reserved on my left, which is your right, at the front. Please make your way here, and we'll be very glad to see you seated where you need to sit today. Moving on, we would like now to, I would like now to ask one of the members of the planning committee to come up on stage and to share with us how their process went, and also to give, no, sorry, I'm not calling the member of the planning committee. I am actually, we would want to hear testimonies from the past awardees. And we would want to, we have past awardees amongst us. As Kamau had mentioned earlier, we had a meeting with them, and they are in the presence. I will not ask them to stand right now. They will get that opportunity. But I would want 3 of them to come on stage to give each of, to get for just 2 minutes to tell us what the award has done for them. And and I will start with the upcoming Human Rights Defender of the Year 2022. Are we ready? For those of us who have forgotten, I'm sure you have your book, so you know who I want to call up on stage. Lisa Gem. Invite her on stage. Lisa. I'll need a mic for Lisa. How the award has impacted your work as a human rights defender.
Viva, comrades, viva. Hi, everyone. My name is Lisa Game, and I'm 11 years old and a child human rights defender. Last year, I won the upcoming HRD of the Year award, and because of the award, my work was featured by a German TV station, and the Nation newspaper also chose me among the 60 most promising women in Kenya. And I've participated as a guest in the opening of courts for children justice in Kisumu and Vihiga. So I want to take this opportunity to urge this year's awardees to take advantage and to showcase their work. Thank you.
Lisa, thank you very much. Isn't it an honor to have such a young human rights defender telling us what the award has actually to do? Thank you so much, Lisa. We appreciate you and we celebrate you. Kimani?
Thank you very much. I'm sure you'll agree. Lisa, well done. Her stature is small, but her aura and presence is simply staggering. Let's give another clap. I will now call upon Billy Bilima, who was the winner of the upcoming HRD Awards of the 2022 also. Billy, welcome, Billy. Clap as Billy comes to stage. Welcome, Billy. You also have 2 minutes. Tell us what this award has done for you the last 1 year. Welcome.
Hi everyone. So I'm just gonna not do that because there's a book that has that. I'm standing here to call for HRD solidarity for LGBTIQ rights. You have seen me. I am a queer person. I am a trans person. I'm a normal person just like you. I'm a human rights defender just like you. My rights matter. This country is trying to kill us. And we need all of you to support LGBTIQ people's rights. You don't have to accept, you don't have to agree. You just have to remember that I am a person just like you. Thank you.
Thank you much. Thank you very much, Billy, for reminding us that you are a human being like all of us, and indeed you are. Do all of us agree? If you agree, clap once. Thank you very much, Billy, and we laud you for your courage for coming here, and you're one of us, without a doubt. It is now my pleasure to introduce Kamau. Where's Kamau again? Busy Kamau. Oh, you are here? You're moving all over the place. We are now at that very, very important stage because the third person that we had hoped would be here is running late. So we shall proceed with the next bit of that, which is a very, very important part. Today we have the supreme privilege of being joined by Justice William Ouko, Supreme Court Justice of the Republic of Kenya, who is coming here to represent her leadership, Martha Koome, Chief Justice of the Republic of Kenya, and I might add the first woman Chief Justice of the Republic of Kenya. Thank you very much, Justice William Ouko, for your presence today. And I'll now invite Kamau to come on stage to formally invite our chief guest. Kamau, I said you'd be very busy today.
Now, I don't know why I don't know if you know why we are doing this. It's because we want to affirm that this award belongs to you. Na kwa sababu mimi ni baba yao, so they have insisted that I have to keep standing here to remind you that, hey, this is your award. Tuko pamoja. But sometimes people ask, or some people have insinuated that the work that we do is to fight government, to fight institutions, to not appreciate the great development that is happening. But we tell people, no, our work is to stand for the rule of law, to stand for human rights, and to stand for the downtrodden. But what people don't know is a lot of work that goes to stand in solidarity and to work with agencies that most people, but those kind of conversations are not always available. They are always not sweet for the media. But I want to tell you that we do a lot of work with state agencies, with state bodies. One of our practical and critical partner in our justice efforts is the judiciary. And we have been working with the judiciary both in training, in partnership at what we call the court users committees, and even the new conversation allowed the alternative justice platforms that are available. So please, I have the supreme honor of welcoming on stage the Honorable representative from the Office of the Chief Justice, but himself is a very honorable person. His name is sasa nitakuita nini Mr. Ouko? I can't call you Mr. Ouko. I can't call you Justice Ouko, but may I call you Comrade Ouko? That way I'll feel much better. I'll not feel intimidated. Please, karibu sana to welcome us. Thank you.
Thank you, DK. As you've heard, I'm here representing the Honorable Chief Justice Martha Koome, who is also the President of the Supreme Court of Kenya. But before I deliver her remarks, may I also congratulate all the comrades who will be honored this afternoon and those who have been in the trenches fighting for human rights in this country. And I'm most privileged and excited to see my former boss, Emeritus Chief Justice Willie Mutunga, who has always defended human rights in this country. I'm also happy to see Senior Counsel Paul Mwite, who has also been in the forefront in ensuring that human rights in this country is protected by all. And so I only wish the current defenders, although you do a great job, but I imagine if you had the likes of Dr. Willie Mutunga and Paul Mwite in their time, when things were bad, an autocratic government, and they stood firm. We didn't have the kind of constitution we have today with very robust human rights provisions. We didn't have a very courageous judiciary like we have today. So I'm encouraging you to do a little more, much more than you are doing now to emulate those who are there before you. Once again, congratulations to the heroes who we have come here to honor. I will therefore deliver the message by the Honorable the Chief Justice, who has sent her apologies because of her commitment elsewhere this afternoon. Your Excellency, the Ambassador Stephen Shoneman, the Danish Ambassador to Kenya, all the ambassadors in the room, distinguished guests, the heroes today, human rights defenders, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I'm delighted to join you this afternoon to celebrate and honor the work of human rights defenders. I commend the Working Group on Human Rights Defenders in Kenya for instituting the Human Rights Defenders Awards, as this provides a platform for the recognition of individuals who have demonstrated exemplary courage in the promotion and protection of human rights and fundamental freedoms in the country. The awardees and nominees, through their endless and tireless efforts, have illuminated the path of social justice and liberty, often at great personal risk.
and protecting human rights and fundamental rights is not only commendable, but is also a lifeblood of our democracy. I also commend the collaboration of diplomatic missions and civil societies under the umbrella of the Working Group on Human Rights Defenders in Kenya, as this epitomizes a vital truth, that the safeguarding of human rights is a shared responsibility that requires all of us, irrespective of our backgrounds, to join hands in pursuit of this shared ideal. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, on 10th December 2023, 2 days from today, will mark Human Rights Day, when the world will commemorate the 75th anniversary of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, UHDR. The UHDR affirms the inherent dignity and equal and inalienable rights of all members of the human family as the foundation of freedom, justice, and peace in the world. This speaks to the fact that human rights are the bedrock of any civilization that prides itself on justice and the rule of law. Like the UDHR, the 2010 Constitution of Kenya emphasizes that human rights are an integral part of Kenya's democratic state and is the framework of social, economic, and cultural policies. Our Bill of Rights enshrines all categories of rights, encompassing civil, political, social, economic, and cultural rights. These rights are not mere aspirations. They are the essence of our humanity, the portrait of the kind of society we aspire to be as Kenyans, and the yardstick by which we measure our progress as a nation. It has been appreciated that having a just society such as the one envisioned in our Constitution is inseparably linked to respect for human rights. This is so, as human rights are the standards against which we measure the fairness of our laws and state policies. By upholding human rights, we do more than pay lip service to justice. We aimed justice in the very fabric of our society, ensuring that it is grounded in principles that value human rights and dignity of equality. Another value that is also a central aspiration to our Constitution and is mutually reinforcing with human rights is the rule of law. Human rights advances the rule of law by protecting individuals from arbitrary power. The rule of law is a shield that guards individuals against unfair treatment, discrimination, and abuse. Therefore, human rights provide essential checks and balances on the power of the state and private actors, ensuring fairness and justice for all. In addition, the rule of law is the vehicle that makes various duty bearers to adhere to their human rights obligations. This is so given that the rule of law provides the structure through which the exercise of power is subjected to legal constraints, such as those articulated in the Bill of Rights. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, speaking for the judiciary, we are proud to be an independent and impartial institution that is committed to upholding the rule of law and safeguarding the rights and freedoms of all people. Over the last 13 years, the judiciary has stood as the bulwark of the rule of law, ensuring that every individual, including human rights defenders, is protected under the law. Our courts have not only interpreted the Bill of Rights in a progressive manner, but has also ensured the rights of all Kenyans are safeguarded, and any violations of these rights is rectified through judicial redress. Through progressive interpretation, and landmark decisions, the judiciary has developed a rich body of jurisprudence that continuously enriches and entrenches human rights in Kenya. In numerous cases, ranging from forced eviction cases involving the right to housing, torture cases involving arising from repressive era in the 1980s and 1990s, freedom of the media, freedom of expression, freedom of association, to rights of vulnerable groups, including children, refugees, and intersex persons. To name just but a few examples, our courts have rendered landmark human rights judgments that have been received with acclaim, both within and beyond our borders. In addition, in line with Article 2 of the Constitution, which makes the general rules of international law and treaties and convention ratified by Kenya part of Kenyan laws, our courts have harmonized international human rights laws with our domestic laws. This has included judicial recognition that norms that are codified in UDHR have acquired customary international law status and are therefore general rules of international law that are directly applicable in Kenya. The judiciary has invoked and relied on these international standards and norms to enrich and enhance our domestic human rights framework and practice. This has ensured that international human rights obligations are not just aspirational, but are actualized in the Kenyan legal system. However, the journey is far from over. Today, we look back at the strides we have made in embracing a human rights culture. We must also acknowledge the challenges that lie ahead. The world is rapidly changing, and with it, new human rights issues emerge, from digital privacy to climate justice related questions. Among our commitment must therefore not only be to uphold the rights of today, but to anticipate and protect the rights of tomorrow. In addition, we still have persons who, due to their socioeconomic status or their vulnerabilities, cannot access justice to protect their rights whenever they are infringed. This is a concern that the judiciary takes seriously, and access to justice is central towards ensuring that the judiciary discharges its mandate as the custodian of justice and the guardian of the rule of law. We are continuously working to bridge the gap between the law and its impact on the lives of the people it is meant to serve. However, I'm compelled to point out that it is important for us to appreciate that while playing a central role, the judiciary cannot succeed in enforcing human rights on its own. Rights and freedoms require active engagement, relentless advocacy, and a populace willing to claim them. This is where our human rights defenders play an indispensable role. You are the custodians of a nation's moral sense. You are the agents of change who challenge the status quo, expose injustices, demand accountability, and seek redress for the victims of human rights violations. By asserting, promoting, and utilizing rights, you protect the dignity and well-being of our people. Therefore, my call this afternoon is the need for human rights defenders to work together with actors in the justice sector to ensure respect for human rights. We need to work together to create a kind of human rights that permeates every aspect of our society. In this regard, we invite vibrant participation by human rights defenders in the court users committees, which are stakeholder forums we have created in each court station to foster dialogue and collaboration among the various stakeholders in the administration of justice. Our insights and experiences as human rights defenders enrich our understanding of the realities on the ground with regard to the justice delivery landscape and help us make informed decisions. In addition, your participation in the court users committees will ensure that our processes are not only legally sound, but are also emphatic and responsive to the justice needs of the people. Moreover, pursuant to our multi-door approach to delivery of justice, we are encouraging the uptake of mediation and alternative or traditional justice system, AJSs, as legitimate avenues for dispute resolutions beyond court litigation. While these avenues for dispute resolutions always existed, we are keen to ensure that they are compliant with human rights standards, such as the fair hearing norms and respect for gender equality and minority rights. Therefore, we encourage human rights defenders to actively participate in the mediators and in AJS's dispute resolution panels and lead the way in infusing these dispute resolution avenues with human rights ethos. In closing, I congratulate the nominees of this year's Human Rights Defenders Awards in all the 4 categories. The Munir Mazrui Lifetime Achievement Award, the Human Rights Defender of the Year Award, the upcoming Human Rights Defender of the Year Award, and the Global Solidarity Award. You have demonstrated exceptional courage and impact in your work. You are an inspiration and a source of hope for all of us. God bless you. Your Excellency, Excellencies, esteemed guests, asanteni sana and have a Merry Christmas. Signed, Lady Justice Martha Koome, EGA Chief Justice, President of the Court, of the Supreme Court. Those are her words, but they've come from my lips. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Justice Ouko, for delivering that message. The defenders, the human rights defenders in this room are entirely grateful to the judiciary. If we had time and the human rights defenders from the counties would give their testimonies on how the court users committees have benefited their work, you will definitely know. Thank you very much. Moving on, people are not doing my assignment. I am back. I am that teacher. I have just gone on X and I can't see people telling other people that they are actually in Denmark. And there's one person who has done the assignment, and I think I need to recognize them. And it says this: some have jobs, others have careers. Human rights defenders have a calling. Thank you so much, Comrade Irongo. I saw that and I was like, yes, people are doing their assignments. I am still marking. I want to remind us, the hashtag is Human Rights HRD Award 2023. And on Twitter, we are on hashtag, on the page of Defenders Coalition, Defenders KE, and at Denmark in Kenya. Tafadhali, tafadhali, please go there and let everybody know that you're spending your afternoon in Denmark.
Thank you, Chief Principal Gloria. So you can see that she's very, very watchful. At this point, though my ambassador in his remarks did mention that there are some ambassadors here, I think it is only right that we mention their names because they have created time to be with us here today. We are very grateful, Your Excellencies. I will start with Her Excellency Henriette Gega, the Ambassador of the European Union. Makofi, Makofi! Thank you very much, Madam, for your presence here today. We also have the Ambassador of Sweden, Excellency Caroline Vicini. And of course, We recall that Sweden were our gracious hosts last year, and all of us had a great time, didn't we? If indeed we did, let us clap once more. Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for your presence here today. We also have the Ambassador of the Czech Republic, Her Excellency Nicole Adamkova. Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for your presence here today. Thank you very much. And we also have the Senior Human Rights Advisor, Office of the High Commissioner for Refugees, representing refugees, human rights. We keep confusing the two, but refugee rights are also human rights, aren't they? Excellent. Li Fang. Thank you very much. So with that, I hand over to Chief Principal, the Gloria, to continue the rest of the program.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Kimani. We are doing very well. And we are moving now to a session where we have been waiting for. But before we now jump into the nitty-gritties of what has actually brought us here, when Kamau was talking to us, he took us through what the process is that we go through to make sure that we get here. And there's a very special team that we would want for them to come and share with us for just 2 minutes what the process looked like, and also to encourage us for the next award, how people should do it. I would want to call one member of the planning committee, Iris, from the Embassy of Netherlands, to please join us on stage, and give us some word from the planning committee. And we also thank the Embassy of Netherlands. You were the first to host the award, and definitely you started us off very well. You're welcome, Iris. Thank you.
Thank you, Gloria, for those kind words. All protocols observed, and good afternoon. As Gloria said, I stand here on behalf of the shortlisting committee. We've already mentioned the members. I must say that it was a very enriching experience to be part of that committee, because you can imagine the wealth of nominations that we've received for the different categories. We've read through them, we've gone through them together in a session. And to be honest, the richness of the work that you're all doing, that they are all doing, is endless. So that didn't put us to an easy task, so to say. It was hard to select because we wanted to pick many more, but I believe the ones that made it to the judging panel are really the top of the bill. A few of the good ones also didn't make it, so we felt as the shortlisting committee that we had to provide some special mentions as well. And I'll just mention them right here. I have 5 of them. The first is the Mukuru Community Justice Center. Please clap for them. For their advocacy initiatives on community land rights, highlighting the impact of demolitions on families and the community within their informal settlements. So very important one. The second is Mr. Mark Ninga, for the uptake and utilization of social media platforms to advance sexual minority acceptance, inclusion, and protection. A round of applause. Number 3 is Julius Kamau, for their exemplified and embodiments of Article 27 on the right to peaceful and unarmed protest, despite facing numerous charges emanating from his arrest while peacefully protesting. A round of applause. And then the last 2 are extra special because they are, again, children human rights defenders. Alvin Macharia Kamau, a 9-year-old from Nakuru, who is the current Mr. Mini Environment, for his initiatives towards rallying the young generation to take action on environmental rights and climate justice through tree planting. And I'm not sure, but since this year we have National Tree Planting Day here, so maybe it was his influence. Round of applause for Alvin. We have Aileen Flores Akinyi, a 10-year-old child philanthropist from Kisumu, who is vocal on vulnerable girls and women, especially widows. And she's working with widows to raise funds for their economic empowerment and access to sanitary towels for vulnerable girls. So didn't want you to leave without knowing them. Please remember them as well, reach out to them as well, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Iris. clearly, if we now need to get an award where we award all human rights defenders, because clearly everybody is doing some very good and important work where they are. I would like to request again, if you are a nominee and you are not seated where you are supposed to sit, the first 3 rows on my left are reserved for you kindly, because I can see the room is actually full, Ambassador, people are actually standing. So we are everybody's in Denmark. If you're not in Denmark, then we don't know where you are. So please, nominees, if you know you are still standing or you haven't taken your seat on my left, kindly do that. And now, Mr. Kamau Ngugi, have you taken your water? Is your English on point or your Kiswahili? I don't know what language you would want to use, but this is what has brought us here. If you could please come back on stage and take us to the next level, because we are now we are now summiting. We are almost somewhere where we will summit very soon. So kindly, Kamau, take us to the next level.
So you can imagine everything we have been doing was a preamble. Now the real deal is going to start now, because we have the assignment of recognizing human rights defenders that were assessed to have done outstanding work, and they need to be awarded for that. But before I start that process, may I appreciate that the Human Rights Defenders Awards are one among many other awards that are going on. So we appreciate the growth on the appreciation of the work that is being done. In this room, in this house, in this country, I want, as we go to the next stage, to recognize an individual who was honored yesterday. And I was saying, if these awards were held, we were doing a nominations today, probably would also have won an award today. And that person won what we call the National Integrity Award. Her name is Mercy Tarus. Mercy, are you here? Can you stand up so that we recognize? Now, that young human rights defender, if you don't know Mercy Tarus, when we take our break, please go shake her hand and ask her what did you win award for. But congratulations. The other person I want to recognize before we start business of the day is one human rights defender who, I don't know if I told you, but my other work is that I chair the Eastern Horn of Africa Human Rights Defenders Network, and collectively our network is connected with the Southern African Human Rights Defenders Network, the Northern and the Western region. And the work that we do also, we recognize one human rights defender who've done outstanding work. In our presence, please allow me to honor the presence of Mary D'Souza. She should start up. All the way from, she's based in South Africa, but she is from a country called Swaziland. And I think she also has another name. That's the name I was looking for. You're insisting on Swaziland. And Mary D'Souza, who is the Africa Shield Award winner for 2022, she's also the coordinator or the executive director for the African Initiative for Women Human Rights Defenders, a great movement for Africa. So we honor you. Now, so this is the time we've been waiting for. We're going to honor human rights defenders for 2023. Now, let me describe the process. How are we gonna do it? What we'll do is that I will invite the ambassador or the main guest who will give the award to the stage so that I don't feel alone. I'm feeling a little bit lonely here, so that we are more people. And we are going also to invite someone who will read the citations or the bios of the nominees per category. And then after doing that, I'm also going to invite the people who hold the envelope that contains the winner. And that is a member of all members of the judging panel that are going to then come here and they will announce who the winner is. And then once we know who the winner is, of course, the person who has the honor to award will do the awards. But please know that every nominee is actually a winner. In fact, even people who have not made to the short list, we've heard that they are all winners. And the work that you do elsewhere, you may not have been shortlisted for this, but we also recognize the work you do. So please, this is a special recognition for few people, but I can tell you that there were very, very many people that if we had many awards, they would be here. So to start the process, I would like, therefore, to invite on stage the person who will give out the first award, which is the upcoming Human Rights Defender of the Year Award, to come here. And the person is the Senior Human Rights Advisor of the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights. Please, Li Fang, please join me on stage. And I'd like also to invite the person who will read the bios of the nominees for each category. And the person that I will invite is a former award winner, Njeri Miwe. Usikimie. At this point, because I don't want to leave this mic, I would like to have an extra mic that we are going to give Jerry. So Jerry, you have a great assignment here because we shall invite you to read all the bios. And then as you read the bios of individuals nominees, we shall ask you, as your name is being read, as we are hearing about you, please to walk on stage, and then you shall join us.
Upcoming HRD of the Year nominees. I will start with Dahabo Bagaro Bagajo. She is a Kenyan registered nurse from the pastoralist nomadic community in Marsabit. Dahabo uses her professional skills in pre- and postnatal care to promote access to maternal health care for the mothers and children in her village. And you know what? The nearest health facility is 300 kilometers away. So, noting the lack of access to antenatal healthcare services to women and children, Dahabo started an initiative that she named Healthy Mother, Healthy Baby, through which she offers health, education, quality medical care. And to reach many people in her community, she trained 150 safe motherhood promoters to support her in operating a mobile clinic that accesses the most remote parts of the county. And until date, 800 women have directly benefited from her care work. Her community sensitization efforts have not been left behind. She has touched the lives of over 3,000 girls. Dahabo advocates against harmful cultural practices such as FGM, early forced marriages that are highly prevalent in her area. And personally, this is what she says: I have been attacked, profiled, and stigmatized for publicly denouncing these practices. Come on, give a round of applause for Dahabo Abigaro Hakaj. Please join us.
Come on stage. Please come on stage. As you come on stage, I would like also to invite members of the judging panel to join us on stage. And the person I expect here would be Jerica Beberi and Grace Rorin from the judging panel. Please join us on stage.
Nominee will be the Social Justing Traveling Theatre from Nairobi County. It's an activist movement that uses theatre as a means of transforming society to a socially just society. This team uses arts and sports as an advocacy tools for awareness, as well as persuading communities to support HRD defenders in their work. The Social Justice Center's traveling theater, that is SJCTT, is shaped by its surrounding. And as you're aware, most of its members come from the informal settlement areas, where most human rights violations they focus are police excesses, including harassment, extortion, and forced disappearing. And it started in 2019. And one of the amazing things is that the Social Justice Traveling Theatre has been pioneered by young people who organize in various informal settlements in Nairobi and around the county. Come on, give a round of applause for SJTT. My next nominee is Silvana Lesuda, who is a social justice activist leading Network Empowering Samburu Transformation, NEST, which is a women-led organization in Samburu County. It's located in the Kenya Asa region, which is a home to pastoralists and indigenous persons characterized largely by a patriarchal society and political setup. In her Samburu community, women voices continues to be suppressed, ignored, and marginalized. And over the years, Lesuda has created awareness and the recognition of the true role of women and girls in her community. And she's been able to raise women voices in a community where women face a lot of marginalization. And Lesuda, through NEST, advocates for the end of period poverty, stigma, early marriage, and fighting against harmful practices such as FGM. Her personal mantra is she has succeeded in sustaining the conversation and setting the agenda against children marriages. She says, I have led conversations on period poverty, and I now work closely with Moran men as my champions. Come on, give her a round of applause. My other nominee is Dennis Orengo Juma from Nairobi County. Dennis is a human rights defender working with a range of marginalized and vulnerable groups in society. These people include widows, children, refugees, persons with disabilities, and victims of extrajudicial killings. Dennis volunteers to do sign language interpretation in police stations, in courts of law whenever deaf persons are in conflict with the law or have been violated. So to ensure mitigation of language barrier, to ensure that there is dispensation and access to justice. Orengo has registered a catalog of impressive policies and direct individual supports for individuals whose rights have been abused. He has done a lot. I think you all need to read this and give it up to him for everything that he has done.
Taking it back.
The things he says is besides supporting PWDs, Dennis supports widows facing various challenges accessing justice by introducing them to alternative justice system. Additionally, Dennis trains the widows on paralegal skills where they can go to courts and seek justice. Dennis, it's your turn to shine. Come on.
Now, I don't like this part of it because it's a fun part of it. So I invite the members of the judging panel to tell us, among all these winners, who is the super winner?
Hi, everyone. Yes, we have come to the judgment of The winner is Social Justice Traveling Theatres.
And as we make the presentation, I'll just give a few words about theater and activists who have inspired us. And as we grew up, we heard about the Mau Mau songs. And we hear that those are the songs that kept them going for all the years that they were in the forest. And around the world, liberation work has been inspired. Liberation work has been inspired by songs and theater and drama because it energizes people. And most recently, I think those of us who grew up just before were there during the South Africa struggle and before 1994, we know how those songs were in everyone's tongue. We were not South Africans, but we would be singing their liberation. Some of us also grew up at the time plays and drama and books were banned. And I remember being smuggled from high school by one of our teachers to go and watch a play, Gahikadeda, I Will Marry When I Want, because any leader who's a dictator fears theater and fears music and fears songs. So all those songs and all those plays were banned, and this was a musical Gahikadeda. And although it was banned, everybody somehow knew the songs, and everybody somehow was singing those songs. And in the recent times, the second liberation, we were inspired by the songs of the 5 C's. I don't know whether there are members here of the 5 C's. Behind there, I can see them. We were inspired by those songs, and they continue to sing those songs. And those songs are the ones I hear, the liberation movement today, the young activists singing the same songs. So, and there I would like to recognize one, Kangara Wajabi, who actually wrote like 90% of those songs. And today they are still alive and they are still very, very relevant. Maybe they have been changed one stanza or another, or one word or two, but they are still the songs. I sang them in 1996. When they are sung today, I can still recognize them. And finally, what I want to say, even before we give this award, is we know Denmark has year after year been known as the country with the happiest people in the world. I don't know whether you knew that. I don't know whether the ambassador knows that. You do? So it has been known as the country with the happiest people in the world. And Kenya is popularly known as the country of marathoners. I think everywhere, oh, Kenya, oh, are you a runner? Are you marathoners? Do you know a marathoner? So Kenya is known for that. But I would like for us to be known for another thing, and that is the most conscious human rights country in the world. So as we give this award to this theater group, I know through theater you go around and you pass the messages. May you inspire us so much so that we become the most human rights conscious country in the world. Congratulations.
Thank you, congratulations, and invite Li Feng to give the award and the certificate to the winners.
I'm feeling vibes on vibes. I'm a ticking dynamite. I blow your gun through life. You know I'm just that type. No, them not be kill my vibe. Them not be kill my vibe. Kill my. I'm feeling vibes on vibes.
And the award winner also goes home with a check. I normally don't celebrate when the dollar is devalued, but this is going to be a lot of money, $1,000. So you can imagine.
Okay. You're not a kill me yet to the line, cause you can never kill my vibe. Got there with no sacrifices, everything is taken. You have to make it.
Wait, only one word. Just one word on what this means.
Greetings, everyone. It's not I will say one word because right now I'm out of word. But thank you very much, and of course thank you to Defenders Coalition for recognizing art as a way of amplifying for social change. Thank you.
And congratulations. And every person is a winner, so all the other nominees will also get their certificates. Thank you.
Thank you, my wise man said, follow the star, yeah, you shall find them, club at time. If you hit your enemies shine. If you're not depend on me, enter the time. But you can never kill my vibe. God, yeah, we don't sacrifice it. Everything won't take it. You have to make it. Vibe killer, me, I no go take it. Vibe killer. Tell my friend, don't take my energy to your partner. My back don't say, it be my life, everything I desire. What is it? Don't let it give up. If you get sour, come on, go and sit down. You go just para. Come on, my jigger. You go just follow my lead. I'm feeling vibes on vibes. I'm taking down. I'm trying to down. After your candle lights, you know I'm just.
Thank you so much, Lee, and the judging panel. Now, at this point, we'll go to the next category. Now, the next category is the Human Rights Defender of the Year Award. This is the most coveted award. And again, I would like to invite on stage a former award winner, like the award, the Human Rights Defender of the Year 2022, who, because we wished him to be here earlier to tell us what the impact of his award or what his award meant to him, we'll punish him by give him the role of coming to tell us about that in 1 minute, and then we'll also give you the honor of reading the bios of other nominees in that category. So welcome, John Allan Namu. Has John Allan Namu come on stage? As John comes on stage and is already here, I would also like to invite the ambassador who will give out this award. And there's a lot of confusion from my end. But clearly, the person who deserves to give this award is the host ambassador. So, ambassador, please welcome. And I would also like to invite on stage the persons who will tell us who the real winner is. So on stage, I would like to invite members of the judging panel. And this category, now why are my notes now so mixed up? I have no idea. It must be the chair of the judging panel. So Rachel, come over here. Rachel, Commander, please come over here. Give us. And of course, Michael. So at this point, please, I invite John Allan Namu. Please tell us 1 or 2 things about what winning the award means. And please also, you lead us in reading citations.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for having me even at this late stage in the award ceremony. I apologize. I just come back from the DRC where we were also documenting a number of human rights abuses that deserve national and global attention. So my apologies for my lateness. Just coming back from the airport. I'll read just briefly what it meant to me, and I won't read everything else. I'll just read a couple of paragraphs, right? And last year, first of all, it was a huge shock to be honored in a in a category and in a cadre of people whom I deeply respect, and it really was a transformative year for me and for the work of Africa Uncensored. It opened doors to networks of other dedicated human rights defenders whose impactful work I might not have encountered otherwise. This expanded community has become a wellspring of inspiration and collaboration, and has fostered a collective strength that is indispensable to the challenging terrain of human rights advocacy. So this last two paragraphs I'll read because there are a number of people here I just wanted to credit with having met, especially in the wake of having received the award. I've met and worked with brave individuals working to protect sexual minorities in the Rift Valley, reeling from the death of one of their own, LGBTQ activist Edwin Chiloba, but still working. I spent time with a man who has dedicated his life to documenting all sorts of abuses, including the extrajudicial killings that took place during the Maandamano earlier this year in Western Kenya. And I also went into the field with a veteran human rights defender who is still documenting heartbreaking impacts of the deaths in Shakahola. And they may not know it, and I've seen some of them in the audience. They may not know it, but every time I left, I did feel deeply inspired by them. And a little guilty that I had the opportunity to leave, but they always had to stay at the coalface, working to defend the rights of minorities, of people who are facing all sorts of injustice every day. And so this one is for you guys. Festus, Billy, Redemptor, Alex, Audi, and everybody who I met this year. I hope that your work, you know that your work is important, and I appreciate everything that you do to stand for others. And special recognition obviously comes to the person who came before me on this stage, Jerry, who I met and also worked with last year. Your work is so important, Jerry, you have no idea. And now, my moment was 365 days ago. I'd like to usher in a new generation of human rights defenders. And I'll start by reading the first name of the nominee, Mr. James Wakibia, I believe from Nakuru County. James is a human rights defender based in Nakuru who uses online media to highlight human violations in his community. His activism began when he was at school and he witnessed littering and authorities doing nothing about it, thus violating the people's fundamental human right to a healthy environment. Since then, he knew that something needed to be done to raise awareness and bring about change. Importantly to note is that James has a terrific ability to draw from his own experience and observation to develop thoughtful opinions and on a variety of environmental issues. The rest of his profile is in this booklet. Please read about each and every one of these nominees. I'd like to invite to the stage James Wakibia. Let's give him a round of applause. Next, the first of a number of nominees from Turkana County, Epakan Ekale Peter. Epakan Lokale is a climate change justice activist from Turkana, the largest county in Kenya in landmass, and one that has been on the receiving end of the impacts of climate change, which have manifested through unpredictable rainfall or extreme rainfall, frequent and prolonged dry spells, and increased daytime temperatures. Epakan has a great interest in climate justice, but he has also expanded his scope to mobilize his community against perennial inter-clan and inter-community conflicts, specifically among the Turkana, Toposa, Nyangatom, and cross-border conflict involving the Karamoja in Uganda, the Toposa of South Sudan, and the Turkana of Kenya. For the past 2 years, Epakan has been extensively involved in the promotion of peaceful coexistence of the various communities in Turkana and its neighboring counties. Let's invite to the stage Epakan and give him a round of applause. As Epakan comes to the stage, I'll read the next profile, again from Turkana County, Mr. Makambo Lotorobo. Makambo is a pastoralist rights activist from Turkana County in northwestern Kenya. Makambo uses the Sarima Indigenous Peoples Land Forum, SIPLF, an organization he co-founded to advocate for his community's land rights in the face of large-scale infrastructure developments. The land is central to the pastoralist's livelihood, and any annexation without due process disenfranchises them. Makambo was at the center of mobilizing northern Kenya communities around the impact of the Gilgel-Gibe 3 hydroelectric dam built on Omo River, a river that drains into Lake Turkana by the Ethiopian government due to fears of the dam's impact on the populations whose livelihoods relied on Lake Turkana. And that's approximately 300,000 people who rely on Lake Turkana every day for their existence. Let's welcome to the stage Makambo Lotorobo. Brief correction, Makambo is from Marsabit County, not Turkana. My apologies. Poleni sana. Up next is Njeri Gatero and the National Gay and Lesbian Human Rights Commission. Representing Nairobi County. Njeri is a human rights lawyer and defender working for the National Gay and Lesbian Human Rights Commission in Kenya. Njeri's organization has been at the center of a case that has highlighted the struggle for equality and human rights for all people with a bias towards sexual and gender minorities. Njeri, through her organization, access to justice through a legal aid clinic for anyone who has been discriminated against or violated on the grounds of their sexual orientation. Njeri also engages in strategic litigation and advocacy towards equality for LGBTIQ persons in Kenya. The primary barrier against advocating for LGBTIQ in Kenya is equal access to rights under the current legal dispensation. Kenya still retains a colonial penal code that contains prohibitions on consensual adult same-sex intimacy in private. The public further confers criminal to anybody perceived to be a sexual or gender minority due to the existence of this law. Njeri, welcome to the stage. Up next, ladies and gentlemen, is Mr. Sankara Nyangaya from Kajiado County. Human rights defender and a member of the National Social Justice